Welcome back to the Wizard Weekly, where we talk about everything in gaming. They say not to bring the new stuff into the new year, but I'm just feeling so nostalgic over the last 2 years of me shooting shit talking about Nintendo Switch 2 alleged leaks and rumors, and I just know you are too. It's been too long. It's Throwback Thursday, so let's get retro and talk about the latest finding that this Twitter user, 𝐿KDale, she recently found a new patent by Nintendo. You know her, that's a freaking word that rings PTSD for any Palworld Pokemon lover out there. But apparently Nintendo's holding a patent over an invention to have a DLSS style AI upscaling feature that improves the output resolution for games. Here legally they call it systems and methods for machine learned image conversion, and one can only assume that this is for, you know, the Nintendo Switch 2 or at least any type of device that they have coming down the line. This is a patent that can be applied to many other things. In this 39-page document full of wonders, graphs, and a bunch of words that, is that a fucking math? Based on these diagrams, you can see that they're trying to take a smaller image of this little cartoon and turn it into something bigger, something that'll play on the big screen. And even here, 𝐿KDale found that they said that as far as like, you know, reducing overall game sizes, they want to be able to fit a modern game onto smaller capacity physical media. And the example that they apparently give in this writing is the fact that a game with a native 4K resolution might need like a 60 GB download, but with a 1080p native resolution, that would only need 20 GB. So in the case of any like third-party newer games that might make compromises, like we already know Call of Duty is coming to Nintendo Switch after, you know, they made a deal a couple years ago, the game will still probably be able to look decently just based off of, you know, upscaling and whatnot. Now again, like always, this lines up pretty perfectly with what we've been already going off of as far as like Nintendo Switch 2's internal parts. Like we already know there's going to be some sort of NVIDIA chip that allows it to run on a PS4 Pro. I think it's like Xbox Series level-ish. People on the Board forums earlier in the year culminated 1536 CUDA cores, 12 GB of RAM, and 256 GB of onboard storage as a base. So that's what we've been thinking on for the past year. Now, I'm not oblivious. I understand that people really care about graphics pretty much now more than ever. You know, maybe not Nintendo fans as much, but even still, you know, a lot of people are going to be buying this console on day one just because of all the hype. So people are going to be really critical over the resolution for this Switch 2. So I am happy that we do have upscaling, but I don't care for it. You know, I don't really care for any of my devices to use resources to make the game look better than what it really is. Like, I don't need you to cope the fact that I don't have enough money to get the better version of whatever system, even though this is technically just the system, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't give a shit as long as the game runs at a playable state. That's all I really care about. Like, DLSS is cool. I rarely ever use it on my PC unless like I have to. Like for Indiana Jones, I kind of had to because the game was like running my PC at its maximum. Like the shit would have exploded if I didn't started using DLSS. But it's always a dope thing to see, you know, the new technology being brought to, you know, the Nintendo Switch, when most of the time that kind of stuff isn't really like the main selling point. Most of the time it's just, you know, the community and the games and, you know, just the whole Nintendo sphere of gaming. That's the selling point for Nintendo. So having this extra stuff there, it's gonna be dope. And moving on to something that I somehow slipped my radar in the past 2 months, because if I knew about it, I damn sure would have talked about it. But apparently one of the latest Windows 11 updates, specifically Windows 11 version 24H2, it's causing a game break within a lot of Ubisoft games, all the way to the fact that Windows, they block the download of this new update for people that have certain games from Ubisoft installed, just because they just won't work on there for some reason after the update. Now, I personally got beef with Ubisoft and I don't even play any of their games anymore, so, you know, this doesn't really affect me too much. But the fact that Windows 11, which I don't like Windows 11, you don't like Windows 11. Windows 11 is basically that one co-worker that you forced to work with. You know, you don't want to work with them, but you got to do what you got to do to get that paycheck. But the issue of these games, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Origins, Odyssey, Star Wars Outlaws, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, this has been logged since November of last year, and people are still apparently having issues, this time only with the Assassin's Creed titles of Valhalla, Origins, and Odyssey. It's gotten to the point where they went to the Steam review page of these games and have started review bombing them, claiming that Ubisoft is giving a 90% discount on this game and it cannot be played on Windows 11 24H2. Now, I don't know how the hell an update can break one specific company's game on your PC to not being able to be played at all, but apparently this is still a thing, and Again, I'm not a fan of Ubisoft. I grew up really idolizing the studio, and then in the past couple of years, with all of their, countless delays, very dumb inside business decisions with their, CEO, laying all of their problems on the employees' hands and just not picking the ball up, and now them going back and forth between the investor companies, and then I just cannot get over how bad Skull and Bones was on arrival, and then compare that with it being a Windows 11 problem, which I don't even like that operating system at all. This is just a really just bad shitstorm, like how you see here on Assassin's Creed 4. Like as bad as these storms are going down is how bad my mental is just thinking about all this shit. Now, how much longer people are going to be locked out of these games on Windows 11 has yet to be seen, but hopefully it's not for too much longer, because 2 months is pretty crazy even for Windows. And moving on, last year's surprise release game of Hi-Fi Rush after an Xbox Direct Showcase event. That game did extremely well on arrival, and its developer Tango Gameworks, they were thought to be one of Xbox's next big studios until they got surprisingly shut down, to Xbox then saying that they needed more studios like Hi-Fi Rush after the fact. So, outside of Xbox's bipolarism, the future of Tango Gameworks was in limbo for a while, but until they finally got under the wing of Krafton Incorporated. And then finally, a couple months later, reporting from their Twitter account, they claimed that Tango Gameworks has been reborn as Tango Gameworks, proudly joining Krafton Incorporated. We're excited to continue crafting games that bring joy in players around the world. And I hope that they make a sequel to this game. And even if not, I hope they make an IP so much better than Hi-Fi Rush that Xbox, they just have no choice but to suck it. Like Xbox, they claim that they wanted an international studio so bad, as good as Hi-Fi Rush, and they had them in the palm of their hands, and they made them a banger game that people enjoyed on arrival, which is really rare, especially for indie games nowadays. Tango now being with Krafton is now hopefully a good thing, and I hope that they have enough creative freedom to release games as experimental and as captivating as they did with Hi-Fi Rush. As you can see here, Krafton as a publisher, they have a really wide range of games spanning from all the way to mobile to PC and console, so they have experience in the I guess the know-it-all to promote their games well. It was just a big share what the fuck moment on the internet when Xbox decided to shut down Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin at basically the same time. So seeing one of these studios hopefully come back and get back on their feet and hopefully thrive in this gaming world after making a really dope ass game is a really good ending thing to see in the storyline. So I'm hoping that we do get that good ending for this studio. And lastly for today, Mike Shapiro, which is the voice of G-Man in the Half-Life games and Barney in Half-Life 2, he recently posted something on New Year's Eve in the character of G-Man that is really off-putting as fuck, but also just really interesting and hopefully a clue towards anything that Valve has taken up for the Half-Life series that isn't a VR game. Like, do not give us Alex 2. Jesus Christ. But in case you didn't hear, let me just play it for you guys. So
good to see and hear from so many of you. May the next quarter century deliver as many unexpected surprises as did the millenniums first. And again, time is fluid, like music. See you in the new year.
My wizard radar just went through the roof right then. He's in my wall somewhere. Anyways, outside of G-Man flexing that dope ass voice, it sparked an entire debate on the internet as far as what this whole video could mean, because one thing that a Twitter user did was show the entire panned image that was shown off on the Twitter page, and it just looks like some sort of old caricature of a house here, maybe some plants and just a big drawback of a landscape with some suns, maybe some mountains. The website here, Windows Central, is speculating that these are those blue distorted storms that we had back in the Half-Life titles that they're depicting, but that might be a reach just a little bit. Now, if I had to base this opinion based off of what's the most likely answer, just going off like reality, I guess, I would think that this is just nothing more than Mike Shapiro saying Happy New Year's to, a really crazy year 2025 in, the way that his fans knows him the most. And As far as his painting though, I don't really know. I'm not sure if this is something from Valve. Maybe it's just, I mean, yeah, he does have a history of posting some like creepy stuff, so maybe it's just something that he has. I don't want to just straight up say there's nothing going on at Valve, like they're not working on anything as far as the Half-Life franchise. I'm sure they are, but could it be Half-Life 3 finally? I don't know. And like we saw in that documentary, you know, they had the chance. They said they had the chance, but they blew it. They started working on other things, and they left that formula back in the past since they thought it was just, they did as much as they could with it. But again, we've seen in recent years Half-Life Alyx, the VR game, you know, we've seen them mention Half-Life, so maybe there's some sort of era where we see a spin-off title based on the Half-Life franchise, maybe that has to do with G-Man. I would love to see Mike Shapiro again. I don't know, man. Valve already has like a big release on their hands whenever they decide to take Deadlock out of that freaking friends invite only shit that only exclusive freaking cult members can get into right now. So that game is still pretty big. And that's all I got for today, man. If you enjoyed, like on the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.